everyone. Good evening. Happy Sunday. Happy week 12 of NFL action. Welcome to the Express here on Optimus Fantasy Football on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, wherever you're watching us. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel because we have this show coming to you every single week to break down what happened on the NFL slate. There's a lot to break down, Lou. Today was kind of a crazy day. The Colts sort of stayed in it with the Chiefs. Daniel Jones isn't a closer.
Yeah, but we knew that, right? Like, he's been better, but we knew that.
I mean, we did know that. I think we wanted to see something different from Daniel Jones. As a Broncos fan, I know that the Colts and the Broncos are neck and neck, but I wanted to see them lose to Indy so bad. Freaking bad.
I think everyone outside of Kansas City wanted to see that, honestly.
I think there were even some people in Kansas City that wanted to see it. Let's get a better draft pick. Maybe get a wide receiver or a running back that's worth their salt. Because if we're honest, like, we look at Kansas City, and we'll talk about this game in a little bit, but their Achilles heel is their run game. Kareem Hunt's been carrying them, but it's Kareem freaking Hunt. He's got to be like 75 years old at this point.
I mean, it took him 30 carries to get 102 yards. That's simply not good enough.
Right. It's poor efficiency. This isn't a team that's going to go anywhere this year. We've seen the best of the Chiefs. I think today was one of their better performances this season. I don't expect it to continue. But we'll talk about that more. Caleb Williams looks good. The Cowboys come back and beat the Eagles in overtime.
Yeah, what the hell?
What the hell was that? Yeah, it was a crazy day. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first game we're going to get into, Lou, of course, is the New England Patriots beating the Cincinnati Bengals 26-20 today. And of course, we're all family here. We've got pets. Homeboy wants to be a part of the show, and I can't blame him. This was a crazy game. We all expected New England to pretty much just destroy Cincinnati, but it was really very close. We didn't get the crazy game out of Joe Flacco we thought we'd get. We got 183 yards and a touchdown and a pick. So it wasn't a high volume game for Flacco. Obviously, we've got Burrow coming back. We lose T. Higgins to a concussion. But on the New England side, Drake May gets 6 yards. Gets within 6 yards of 300. So close. Yeah. New England ends up ultimately winning this game. We get a split between Ramondre and Trayvon. Kind of something we thought we might see when we talked this morning. What was your ultimate takeaway, though, Lou, from this game today?
I don't want to say that the Patriots are a bad 9-2 team or 10-2 team because they're not. They've got between Drake May, just his makeup, as well as the Mike Vrabel coaching, that sort of thing. They're very well equipped to win these kind of come down to the end of it kind of games. But like, they were a very bad Joe Flacco pick six away from losing that game. Like, that was the difference in that game, was that Joe Flacco being laid out to the flat, and you cannot do that against any team, let alone a well defensively coached team like the Patriots. So, I mean, really what I took away was that while their record is very good, this is not a team like we've seen a Kansas City in the past, a Baltimore in the past, a Buffalo in the past, where they're really like going out and putting it up on the top shelf where nobody can reach it. They're still going to be vulnerable in the playoffs.
Sure. Well, this is definitely a team that's going to be vulnerable in the playoffs. But I saw a funny post on Blue Sky, Lou, and I wanted to point this out. Looking at the standings in the AFC right now, was if someone went into a coma in 2012 and woke up today, they'd probably think, if they looked at the standings, it'd only been a couple of weeks. You've got the Broncos, the Patriots, the Colts, and then the Ravens hanging on to that like fourth place slot. We're seeing a resurgence of teams like with the Patriots. This is a team that was very good, obviously. Don't have to tell you for a very long time. They brought that Vrabel blood back in. It's a little bit of that Belichick spirit and that Brady spirit. And Drake May's playing really freaking well. What are your expectations for the Patriots this season? Like, is this a team that you think can really make a push for maybe a Super Bowl berth in the AFC? I know you said they're bad good, but that's a lot of the AFC, if we're being honest.
It is. I think it's really going to depend more on matchups than anything else. And part of it is all the teams that we've associated with being good, Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, there's something seriously wrong with all of them this year, each in different ways and that sort of thing. So I do think part of it depends on what their matchups are. Like, I think New England would struggle a lot with Houston, for instance.
Sure.
Their players on the outside aren't that good. Houston's defensive line is fantastic. Like, we saw what they just did to Buffalo, and Buffalo's offensive line is excellent. And, Houston destroyed them. So I think it would depend on matchup a bit, where, that sort of thing. But I think if the matchups go their way, they could absolutely represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. And I would not be surprised if they're knocked out in the first round. Like, their range is that far, that big.
Oh, 100. I completely agree. Well, I think that's all of these teams at the top of the AFC right now. Indianapolis, I don't think they're strong enough to make a run, but is there another team that's stronger than them? Because it's not the Broncos. Their defense is really good.
It might be the Broncos, because the Broncos are doing the thing. I don't know. I want to not believe in the Broncos. They offend me on some like spiritual level, but they keep doing it.
They do keep doing it. All right, let's get into the stats of this game real quick. It's not super exciting. Chase Brown, though, I want to point this out, 19 carries for 107 yards, so he got it done again. It wasn't super fantasy relevant. He didn't have a touchdown. He saw 2 targets for 23 yards in the passing game, 2 receptions. But Chase Brown is seeing work. Does this continue with Joe Burrow next week?
I think it has to. I mean, this is the best fantasy performance by a running back against New England all year. Like the highest number of rushing yards, and not by a small amount either. Sean Tucker a couple weeks ago was the first running back to break 50 yards against New England. And now we've got Chase Brown breaking 100 yards. I mean, that's not something that's done. So I think to a certain extent, those offensive line issues that we were seeing in Cincinnati to start the year, they've figured those out to a certain extent. They're certainly not good or upper echelon, but they've learned what they can and can't do, how to use their running game, how to leverage it effectively, especially now that they've got a reasonably functional quarterback. We assume, obviously, Burrow's coming back next week, and we'll bring that element to it. But I have to think that based on what we saw today against New England, that Chase Brown is going to stay relevant even when Burrow comes back.
I think you have to. You have to keep giving him work. Especially, Burrow's 100%, great. But you still want to watch that foot. You still want to be careful of what you're asking him to do. And if you can take some of that heat off of him by running Chase Brown, you run Chase Brown. If he can be efficient with a full workload, which 19 carries for me, that's a pretty full workload for an NFL running back in 2025. So outside of that, Lou, T. Higgins gets 5 catches for 31 yards. Gesicki, 4 for 35. Andre Iosivas gets 4 catches for 61. The lone receiving touchdown was Mitchell Tinsley. Did you know Mitchell Tinsley was on this roster before today, Lou?
I did, because he showed out, I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, randomly at the end of the season. But yeah, it was Tinsley did his work after Higgins left with a concussion. It's just, what a bummer, because they've got such a quick turnaround on Thanksgiving. So we got to imagine that he's not going to be out there. Right. Which, I mean, good news there is that we probably get another week of Iosivas, and apparently Mitchell Tinsley.
And with Joe, we get Jamar Chase back.
Right. So it's like we lose Higgins, we get Chase, Iosivas stays relevant, and we get Tinsley being the wide receiver 3. Yay, cool. But with Joe Burrow throwing the ball instead of Joe Flacco.
Oh, great. I prefer Joe Burrow. But what I worry about is we're all we think we do, but we're gonna fire him up in fantasy because we have to. Like, right. We're all because you went from Burrow to Jake Browning to God knows what in your starting slot to replace Burrow. Right. We're going to start him. Expectations for me, at least, very extremely tempered for Burrow coming back next week.
Yeah, I haven't looked at matchups or anything like that yet, but I'm guessing he's going to be low QB1, high QB2 range for me, somewhere in there, like QB 10 to 14-ish. Again, have not looked at matchups yet. hold me to it and I'll deny everything. Don't clip this, all that sort of, all those sorts of
all
disclaimers.
that fun. All right,
Yeah,
let's move on to the next one. We're going to move on to the Steelers and Bears. Again, closer game than I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought Chicago was just going to blow the Steelers out of the water, especially when we found out it was going to be Mason Rudolph instead of Aaron Rodgers today. And Mason Rudolph wasn't horrible, Lou. 24-31 for 171 yards. He throws 1 touchdown and 1 interception. The real story here was Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren. 10 carries for Gainwell for 92 yards. Jalen Warren, 18 for 68 and a touchdown. DK Metcalf gets a rushing touchdown before he gets hurt. The Steelers end up losing to the Bears. Not a whole lot of fantasy production on the Steelers side, if we're being honest. But on the Bears side, it was a lot better. Caleb Williams, 19 of 35 for 239 yards, but 3 touchdowns for Williams.
Yep.
We saw DJ Moore explode for 2 touchdowns. We saw Colston Loveland get a touchdown. Kyle Monangai, 12 carries for 48 yards. He out-carries DeAndre Swift this week, Lou. Is there something to this with Monangai now?
It really just felt like game flow. I watched this whole game, on the big TV, that sort of thing. So I kind of had my thumb on it. Chicago wasn't leaning on their running game as much today, which I think was by design, because Pittsburgh is so stout against the run and so bad against the pass. And I think Monangai was just the better matchup against the Steelers. Their front, they obviously got the power with Casey Hayward or Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, the other, because JJ Watt was of course calling the game. So, yay for confusion. But yeah, I really think it was just kind of a little bit matchup based, which I mean is the game that you play with these Bears running backs now. We know Ben Johnson likes to play these games, the matchups and everything, ride the hot hand to a certain extent, and just kind of see what works. And that's why DJ Moore had his big day today as well, despite the fact that he really hasn't done anything in weeks.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Well, I posted on Blue Sky the Undertaker popping out of the coffin, like DJ
Yes,
Moore today.
Exactly.
It's what it was. 3 weeks ago, he had a decent game. I think he had something like in the neighborhood of 15 fantasy points, but he's been mostly dead this season. And I want to note too, Rome Odunze did out target him. Rome Odunze had 9 targets to DJ Moore's 7 targets. So more target volume for Odunze, but Moore did more with it. That's a tongue twister. A whole lot of Moores. So as we head towards the fantasy playoffs, Lou, with Rome Odunze, because someone that we had been leaning on pretty heavily up until this point of the season, we've seen a fall off. Do you expect that to continue, and do you expect it to kind of lean towards Moore being more productive, or do you think this will level off in Chicago and you can actually have some faith in Odunze in the fantasy playoffs?
I have it as I don't know who to have faith in any given week at this point, which is kind of what we anticipated coming into the year. And now it's kind of proving true. One thing I am having more faith in is Colston Loveland. He's getting more work than he has been. I don't know if he technically out-targeted Cole Kmet today, but I can tell you that the targets that he did get were just better. It was clearly designed for him as opposed to like checkdowns or, bailouts by Cole Kmet, that sort of thing. So like if there's someone in the offense that I am ready to say, yeah, I'm pretty willing to lean on him week in and week out, it's Colston Loveland. Moore and Odunze are both going to kind of be in that goopy wide receiver 3 range for me, where yes, their ceiling is higher. If it's their week, they could spike to wide receiver 1 status. And if it's not their week, they could end up with sub 10 points. Now, I don't think that either of them are routinely going to be in the realm of zeros, but at the same time, not having the, at least 10 points out of that wide receiver slot, it hurts, man. It hurts a lot.
Well, it hurts when it's someone you were relying on. Sika Demanger on Twitch, Odunze is killing me. Anyone who is heavily invested or is heavily reliant on Odunze because he was playing so well early, no, it hurts. But with offenses like these, Lou, I think you can't expect there to be consistent volume to any one place. Except I do feel like we see tight end kind of end up becoming consistent at a certain point during the season. So to your point, Cole Kmet, 1 target, 1 catch, 3 yards. Loveland, on the other hand, 5 targets, 4 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. So we have now seen Colston Loveland. He's consistently getting more volume than Cole Kmet. Yeah. This is a good thing in this offense. He was a top 15 pick, so you kind of expected that this was going to happen anyway. Tight ends usually take a little bit longer to see that volume progress, but I think Loveland is a guy who he's starting to create rapport, and he helped them win a game against Cincinnati. And that was a big deal, too.
Caleb's first touchdown, that was a hell of a throw. There was a 0 margin for error to Colston Loveland right at the goal line. He fit it in and trusted Loveland to make that catch and make him right, and Loveland did. Like, that's what you want to see out of that relationship. And it's just they're clearly building something there together.
Do you have any concern with DeAndre Swift, Lou, rest of the season?
I always have concern with DeAndre Swift because he's DeAndre Swift. But it's just this is what you signed up for with the Bears running backs, is that sometimes it's going to be your week and sometimes it's not. And this week it wasn't.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the Lions and the Giants. This game was far more exciting than I think most expected. Ultimately, it was so much fun. Ultimately, the Detroit Lions end up winning 34-27 in Detroit in overtime. Jameis Winston, though, 18 of 36 for 366 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, and a receiving touchdown from Gunnar Olszewski. Beautiful thing. The running game, not really there. We had 20 carries from Tracy, 14 from Singletary. Tracy, 62 yards, Singletary, 47. The receiving touchdowns, Wan'Dale Robinson, 9 catches for 156 yards, Lou. Went freaking off today. We had Theo Johnson, 3 catches for 77. Isaiah Hodgins gets a touchdown. Yeah. Recent signing 2 weeks ago, they bring him back. He has 2 catches for 42 yards and a touchdown. Of course, Jameis Winston with the 1 catch for 33 yards. Tyrone Tracy, though, did something I know. Jameis Winston catching a...
If you haven't seen the highlight of that play, you need to, because it's so good. The fact that he goes back shoulder with it and makes a guy miss and then trucks a guy at the goal, it's beautiful. And that it's a quarterback doing it, a 30-plus-year-old quarterback doing it, a 30-plus-year-old statue of a quarterback doing it. Oh, just beautiful. I'm so mad that they lost for that play alone.
Me too. Well, I'm low-key rooting for this Giants team now that Dabble's gone. We've got Kafka. I love Jackson Dart. I love Cam Scattaboo. Jameis Winston is currently on the week, QB1.
Yeah.
And Baker Mayfield's been ruled out, for those who are watching, if you're curious, which is not great news for Tampa Bay tonight.
This Tampa Bay team, man.
Yeah, and if you're listening to the audio version, obviously we're going to have more news about this, so make sure that you are following at news.optimistfantasy.com on Blue Sky. We'll have you up to the minute on the news on Baker Mayfield, because I know I'm a little bit stressed about it. I'm pretty reliant on Baker in fantasy. He was one of those nice, late round quarterbacks you could take later round for a QB1. Felt like a good value. Losing him's going to suck if we lose him.
It was. And he's fallen off quite. That whole Tampa Bay offense has been rough lately.
Well, a lot of injuries, and we've talked about it for the last couple of weeks. Now let's go over to the Detroit side here. We're going to start with Amon-Ra. He had 9 catches for 149 yards and a touchdown. Big day for the Sun God, but not the biggest story, because that's a pretty impressive stat line. Right?
That was his top yardage output of the year. So yeah, definitely an impressive stat line.
Yeah, and most of the time we see that stat line. That's the story of the game. But hold on a minute here. Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries, 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. 219 yards. But then, hold on, 12 targets, 11 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown for Jahmyr Gibbs.
And Unreal. He finished 0.7 PPR points behind Jamal Charles's excellent day against the Raiders all those years ago now. Like that's the level that Jamal Charles was at today. That's unreal. So hopefully you had him in your lineup and we're not playing against him. If you were playing against him, I'm very sorry. If you managed to beat him, I want to hear all about it because that's amazing.
Oh, I had him a couple of places. My opponent has no
great.
Chance.
Right.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Baker's in a sling, folks, just so we're keeping up to date here. Not great. Not great at all. We got Jamie Prague dropping in on YouTube saying, hey, what's up, Jamie? It's good to see you. Lou, 100% correct. MN Crime, look up this Baker injury just changed everything. It hurts. Well, and the thing is it changes Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, Rashad White, Bucky Irving, all of it. It all changes.
Yeah. I mean, even the marginal guys that we've kind of been putting into our lineups because we're hurting, that's sort of the Tez Johnson, the Kate Otten, like it completely negates those players, which is just, man, what a bummer.
So I love Teddy Bridgewater. I don't want him starting for Tampa Bay long term.
Right.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater starting in 2025 is not a good thing, unfortunately.
No, it's not good. All right. So back to this game here, Lou, the Detroit, New York game. Jameson Williams. We talked about it this morning. Hey, he should see continued volume. You know, we're losing Sam Laporta.
Or not.
3 targets, no catches, no yards, big zero burger for Jameson Williams. Are we back to he's such a roller coaster you can't trust him?
Well, and a buddy of mine today was asking me about what I thought of Jared Goff versus Brock Purdy. And I made the points because they were back-to-back in my rankings, and I made the point look, it's possible that Detroit today is all running backs. It's just all Montgomery and Gibbs. And that's kind of the risk that you run with the Detroit offense, is that some weeks it's just going to lean into the running backs because they do things like this, where, it hasn't been Montgomery so much, but Jahmyr Gibbs just absolutely runs just all over everything all day. And I think it had a lot more to do with that. I mean, when you've got a running back getting 219 yards and then Amon-Ra getting another 150, what's left? That's 360 plus yards right there. There's just not the volume left. And sometimes that happens when you're not the first option, which is fine. It's just a problem when there's 2 first options on the team and they're both as good as the Detroit Lions have.
So do you have faith in Jameson Williams moving forward, though? At all?
I mean, he's kind of right where he has been for me generally, in that boom bust, that wide receiver 3 tier, where if I need to throw that Hail Mary, he's the best one out there. And I also understand that he could have a game like today and end up not necessarily losing my matchup for me, because I wouldn't start him in that case if I could avoid it, but kind of effectively ruin me.
Well, and this is one of those things where we talk about inherited volume, inherited targets, or vacated volume, vacated targets. Oh, well, There's all these vacated targets. We're going to bring X number of person in, or X number of person's going to see them. That doesn't always work that way. And I think there was some sort of level of expectation with Laporta out that we'd see some shift to Jameson Williams. They don't play the same position.
They don't play the same position. They don't play the same roles within the offense.
Right.
And it's, again, they've got the running game that they can rely on. So, our passing game lost a weapon. Let's lean into the run more. They can do that. Not all teams can. Right. Detroit is probably the best that can do that. Exactly that.
Well, when you've got David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, you can, yeah.
Right. When David Montgomery is your running back too.
Right. All right. We're going to move over to the Packers and Vikings game, Lou. Packers win this one 23-6 on the back of JJ McCarthy being terrible.
Oh. And Emanuel Wilson being good enough.
And Emanuel Wilson, 28 carries for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. That was essentially the Green Bay offense. Not a single passing touchdown for Jordan Love. He goes 14-21 for 139 yards. Even Malik Willis had a completion. He goes 1 for 1 for 7. Green Bay's not that good, man. Like, that was just kind of my takeaway from this. They won this game 23-6 because JJ McCarthy is bad.
I can agree with that, and would also have to say that they didn't have to be good today. So why do you don't have to do? And maybe that's two sides of the same coin, because they didn't, because they can't, not because they didn't want to. But yeah, JJ McCarthy's terrible. If you've seen any of the stats out there for JJ McCarthy, he is among the worst to ever do it at this point. Usually only above Jamarcus Russell in several advanced stats categories like EPA and that sort of thing, which, for those who don't know, that is below Josh Rosen, that is below Zach Wilson. Like, epic draft busts.
Name a quarterback
below them so far.
Name a quarterback drafted since the year 2000 other than Jamarcus Russell, and they have been better than JJ McCarthy in their rookie season.
Yep. Literally any quarterback.
It took a quarterback.
Nathan Peterman.
Eric Couch.
Yeah, literally. Oh my gosh.
There are 42 Browns. Trey Lance. There are 42 Browns quarterbacks who have been better than JJ McCarthy. 42
Dylan
of
Gabriel.
them, Lou. Dylan Gabriel, Eric Zier. Does anyone remember? Do you remember Eric Zier out of Georgia?
God, I do. Might. Yeah.
But yeah, he was one of them.
I didn't until you mentioned his name, but yeah.
We've got Deshaun Kaiser.
Oh my God. Worse than Deshaun Kaiser. That's
worse than Deshaun Kaiser. Worse than Trevor Siemian.
Man, worse than Paxton
Brett
Lynch.
Rippon. Worse than Paxton Lynch.
My God. No, I mean,
12 of 19. He was 12 of 19 today, Lou, for 89 yards. He threw 2 picks.
Oh.
His effective passing yards were 52.
The fact that 52. He completed 12 out of 19 passes, like, you hear that and it's like, okay, that's a decent completion percentage. And oh God, it's just, I didn't watch any of that game. I didn't want to come away depressed. I watched a couple of clips, and it's funny hearing the announcers try to not talk too badly about him because they have to remain professional. I'm really off of any Minnesota Viking skill player unless I have to. And like Justin Jefferson, I have to. I don't have to with anybody else in that offense.
Jordan Mason, 8 carries for 42 yards. Aaron Jones, 9 carries for 41 yards. The top target getter, Justin Jefferson, 4 catches for 48 yards. There's nothing to be excited about this Minnesota offense at all.
No. You hope and you pray that Justin Jefferson can make JJ McCarthy's guessing right for like a touchdown. And that's it. But that's bleak.
I was asked earlier today, what happened to Jordan Addison? He's really good. It's like JJ McCarthy happened.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You've got a lot of good players on this team. And TJ Hawkinson, 4 catches for 19 yards. He had a total of 4 targets. You're not going to win targeting TJ Hawkinson 4 times.
For 19 yards. Hawkinson, he's that guy that if he's catching 4 balls, he's getting 40 to 50 yards, not 19.
And a touchdown. Yeah.
Probably.
Minnesota's assets have become unstartable to me. I have no interest in rolling them out. I don't care. Even Aaron Jones. Yeah. Like, I thought maybe there would be some Aaron Jones chutzpah here today. Didn't happen at all.
No.
Nothing. No, just ugly. If you're a JJ McCarthy manager in Dynasty, I mean, maybe you can hold him and pray. I just hope you didn't take him off your taxi squad this season.
Right? Anyways, I get depressed talking about McCarthy.
Yeah, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the Seahawks and the Titans. Seahawks come away the victors here, 30-24. It was a little bit close for comfort for all those Seattle fans. It looked like Tennessee was maybe going to make a run there at the end. They did not, however, but Cam Ward hell of a game for the rookie, someone that we've really had some questions about. He goes 28 of 42 for 256 yards and a touchdown. Plays a mistake-free game, Lou. No turnovers for Cam Ward for the second game in a row. We're seeing some progress here now with Brian Callahan out of here. You can't say the rest.
He scrambled effectively.
He did. He moved well. He looked like an NFL quarterback that kind of understood the speed of the game. Now, look, you can't say you can't say much for the rest of the team. Tony Pollard, 11 carries for 20 yards. Tyjae Spears, 3 carries for 4. Cam Ward, like you alluded to here, 6 carries for 37 yards. Leading receivers, Gunnar Helm, 6 catches for 51. Him and Chimere Dike were tied for the team leading targets with 7 apiece. Dike, 5 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. He added a kick return touchdown as well. On the Tennessee side of this, rest of season for fantasy, 0 interest in these players.
I feel like the one guy I might have some interest in is Gunnar Helm as the tight end landscape kind of shifts over these last few games of the year.
Sure.
We're seeing guys like Cade Otton fall out. Harold Fannin, as much as I love him and like him and that sort of thing, the Browns offense is just bad. So he's kind of tough. Ooh, that's spicy.
I know. I wanted to toss it up here.
But that's spicy.
Finish what you're talking about, and we'll touch on this here.
But yes, so with Cam Ward showing improvement and Gunnar Helm obviously being one of the preferred options, I'm marginally interested in rolling that out if I'm hard up at the tight end position.
Yeah, Gunnar Helm's fine. I wanted it to be Chigga Conquo, but it's not.
I think it kind of makes sense, right? Because Gunnar Helm, he was obviously drafted this year along with Elike Manor, Chimere Dike, Cam Ward. Like they're trying to get the young band together. And Okonkwo, he's been there, he's veteran presence, but he's not part of that band.
Sure. Something that was only exciting for me in this game, that we're going to move on to the Chip Kelly news, was that we saw Xavier Restrepo get some targets. Woo!
Why were you excited?
I met his mom in Mobile, and she's really nice.
At the Senior Bowl. Gotcha. Cool.
Oh, yeah. No, the family all come when your kid's at the Senior Bowl. Apparently, the deal is that you show up in a sequin jersey of your kid.
Huh.
So it's really super easy to find them when you're there. Chip Kelly fired, Lou.
Thank goodness. This Raiders offense has been terrible all year, not just in execution, but design as well. Like, just it makes absolutely no sense. The fact that Tyler Lockett is playing over, like, why are we throwing out Tyler Lockett over the young wide receivers? We know this Raiders offense is going nowhere. Get Thornton out there, get Besh out there, get them on the field with Bowers, on the field with Genty. See what they have, see what they can do. Protect Geno Smith, for the love of God. Like, I'm not saying Geno Smith is great, but you can't let him, you're putting, I forget the name of their backup left tackle who they were having go one-on-one with Myles Garrett and getting eaten alive today. But like, you can't do that and keep your job as an offensive coordinator. No. That is malpractice. So I'm glad they did that. That's the right move.
It is the right move. Give me some Aiden O'Connell rest of season.
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Gino's got his money. Let him enjoy it. Let him have a body left to enjoy it. Thanks, man. You fell on the sword for us. Appreciate you.
Got Jamie Parag saying, man, I thought Pete Carroll was going to die before Chip Kelly got fired. Well, no. I mean, there goes Chip. Yeah.
Pete Carroll's jaw is too strong from all that gum chewing. He'll never die.
That's fair. Oh, well, that's how you live forever? All right.
Apparently.
We're going to move on to the Seattle side of this. Not a super impressive game from Sam Darnold, though efficient. 16 of 26 for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. The rushing game left a lot to be desired. Ken Walker leads the charge, 11 carries for 71 yards. Zach Charbonnet gets the touchdown, Lou. 6 carries for 35 yards and the score. But the real story here, of course, is Jaxon Smith-Njigba. 8 catches for 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. He becomes the all-time single-season leading receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. And that is not nothing. This is a franchise who had DK Metcalf and Steve Largent, widely considered one of the greatest receivers to have ever played the game. If you're not super old, you don't know who Steve Largent is. He played in the 70s and 80s. Lou and I are familiar on the back end of his career for the most part, but still a phenomenal receiver in Seattle. He's on pace to break 2,000 yards, Lou.
Yeah, I mean, and like the fact is that he set this record in 12 games versus 16, 17 games for the others. That's absurd. Like, he could have another 600 yards by the time he gets to that, to that additional 4 games. I mean, that we're talking 1,900 yards. That's talk about putting it up on the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. That's it right there.
Yeah. JSN, historic season. Like, we're watching it unfold. I didn't see this
appreciate
coming. I very much appreciate it. Well, nobody's like, hey, Sam Darnold's going to unlock JSN. I didn't.
I sure wasn't.
No, but he has. Not a lot of other receiving work to go around, as you would imagine. Ken Walker, 4 targets, 3 catches for 30. Cooper Kupp, 4 targets, 2 catches for 24 yards. AJ Barner sees 4 targets, 2 catches for 18 yards. You see the pattern here. Rashid Shaheed still not getting involved in this offense. He had 2 targets, no catches. We assume that that's going to come at some point. But outside of really JSN, there was no Seattle offense today, but it was enough to win 30-24.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we're going to continue to see from Seattle is that they brought in Rashid Shaheed, so that way if a team does figure out how to stop JSN, which nobody has yet, but if it happens, they have a counterpunch because they realize that Cooper Kupp is not a counterpunch at this point. He's a guy that can soak up a few targets, be a good vet. For the young guys, this is obviously a very young team, and that's what he is. But Shaheed is that guy that, okay, if you shut down JSN, we have somewhere else to go that is an actual weapon.
Maybe they'll figure out that they should try and shut down JSN eventually, or maybe they just can't. Other teams seem to just have a massive problem shutting him down. So I want to toss this out here, Lou. First special coordinator Tom McMahon will take over as the offensive coordinator in Las Vegas. So we already have the interim stepping up here for Pete Carroll. We're going to move on, though. We're going to move on to the Chiefs-Colts game. This was a great one. Of course, the Chiefs come out victorious 23-20 in overtime on a Harrison Butker kick that was not wide right for a change. Who would have thought? Had my fingers crossed. That's how it was going to end. But we'll start on the Kansas City side of this, Lou. 29 of 46 for 352 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception for Patrick Mahomes. The team actually ran the ball, though. Kareem Hunt, 30 carries for 104 yards. That's probably the biggest story here outside of Rashee Rice with 141 yards on 8 catches. It wasn't pretty for Kansas City at all, but they got it done in pure Kansas City fashion with like 3 guys carrying the offense.
Yeah. I mean, it was weird to see Andy Reid lean on a running back because that's not something that he's done in recent history at all. Kind of doesn't matter who the running back has been either. He hasn't leaned on Kareem Hunt really for an extended period of time since the first time Kareem Hunt was in Kansas City.
Right.
I don't really take a ton away from it simply because, we're expecting Isaiah Pacheco back. We know that this is not really Kansas City's MO. I think it kind of worked out today simply because the Colts didn't end up putting this game away. Like they roared out to a 14-point lead and then kind of just sat there for way too long. So they didn't have to go away from the run. And if they had, there's no way that Hunt gets almost 30 carries. This is still the same Kansas City team we've seen all year. It just happened to work today where it hasn't a lot other games.
Well, and I think this brings questions about Indy, which we've had.
Yes.
This Daniel Jones thing has felt a little surreal. Like eventually, we're going to come back down to earth. We're going to wake up from this dream. We did today 19 of 31 for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns, 3 carries for 16 yards. It's not that he was bad. He just wasn't that good. There was a stretch in the game where they called, I think it was 8 or 9 consecutive passes.
in the second half where like they had the lead. It was 14-9. They had the lead, and he completed 2 passes, 2 of those. So like this time when like you really want to be bleeding the clock, you've got Jonathan freaking Taylor, who's having a borderline historic season of his own. You know, we just got done talking about JSN. Jonathan Taylor's been on just as much of a tear, and you're relying on Daniel Jones against Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs. To me, this speaks to bad coaching and bad game planning as much as bad Daniel Jonesing, because we know what Daniel Jones is. Like we do to a certain extent. Why are you putting it in his hands when you have this other weapon that is so good? That to me was kind of my biggest takeaway today, is that Shane Steichen is not ready for this yet.
No, and he very well may not be. Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries for 58 yards. In a game like this, you've got to see Jonathan Taylor north of 20 carries. Period.
Absolutely. I want
he's got to be
25 touches minimum.
25 touches minimum. He didn't really see much work in the passing game, which he doesn't generally. He had 3 targets, 2 catches for 8 yards. And really the passing stats, obviously, as you would guess from what we said about Daniel Jones, there wasn't much here. Michael Pittman, 5 catches for 27 yards. Tyler Warren, 5 catches, 45 yards. Pittman does get the receiving touchdown. I don't think that this is necessarily a harbinger of what's to come with Indy. I think this was a tough matchup in Arrowhead in November. It's one of the hardest places to play once the weather starts to turn cold. They almost won it. There were points where I thought they were going to pull it off. Daniel Jones couldn't close it. Patrick Mahomes at home is insane. And we've seen him you give him 35 seconds to score, and he's going to do it in the fourth quarter. So right. I'm not worried about Indy. I'm not worried about Jonathan Taylor. I still think Daniel Jones is probably consistently a top 12 quarterback. Rest away. Indy's a good team. I don't think there's a lot to take from this other than this was just a really good game against 2 good teams.
Yeah, and it's, game of inches. One coach has been here a lot, the other one hasn't. One quarterback's been here a lot, the other one hasn't. And we saw that outcome today. And that's, you cast that die, and that's the way it came up today. I would not be against seeing this matchup again in the playoffs, because I think the teams are matched up pretty well for what they are. And it wasn't, as much as it wasn't a high-scoring game, it was still an entertaining game.
Yeah, it was. Now we're going to move on to another one that wasn't as entertaining, Lou. The Baltimore Ravens beat the New York Jets 23-10. Most of the scoring in this one coming in the second half. Tyrod Taylor will start on the Jet side at quarterback, 17-28, 222 yards, a touchdown and an interception. And crazy to say, he outplayed Lamar Jackson today. They lost, but he had a better stat line. Breece Hall goes 16 for 44 on the ground. He adds 4 catches for 75 yards. He was the team's leading receiver. John Mechie, 6 catches, leads the team in receptions for 65 yards. He gets a receiving touchdown today, the only touchdown on the Jets side. Sans Justin Fields with Tyrod Taylor. We've got no Garrett Wilson. This offense is one that I just don't think has any fantasy relevancy to it, even Breece Hall.
I mean, I have a hard time saying not Breece Hall. I mean, the running back, as a running back, he had 20 touches, and he's good enough that he can turn 4 catches into 75 yards. Not every running back can do that. I still have to run Breece Hall out there. He doesn't have the upside that he had 2 years ago when it was he can carry your team on a given week. He can put up 20, 30 points in a given week. He's not that guy right now. You get 15 points, you're happy out of him, that sort of thing, which is fine. That's reasonable. And I don't care about anybody else on the team. I don't care about John Mechie. Great story. Glad he's doing it. Dude's been through hell.
Yeah.
Good for you. Love it. Not interested in starting you in fantasy in any way, shape, or form.
No. Interested in Garrett Wilson when he comes back, though?
Probably just from a target volume hog sort of thing. Like he's gotta, right? And you've got one game to show me, and that's it.
Do we see Justin Fields again this year?
No. We've seen him twice, like outside of injury to Tyrod, which is always on the table because it's Tyrod.
Of course.
But It's no, not on purpose. Anyways, we've seen what Fields is. The New York Jets experiment is over.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Justin Fields experiment as a starter in general is over. I don't think maybe Atlanta will sign on next year for Justin Fields.
Cleveland, hey, let's get on to Cleveland. Just add them to the Hydra. It's fine.
Might as well. Now let's move on to the Baltimore side of this. Equally unimpressive. Lamar Jackson goes 13 of 23, 153 yards, an effective 143 yards passing with the 10-yard sack. Not great from Lamar. Derrick Henry, 21 carries for 64 yards. He does snag the 2 touchdowns, which was great. Outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot of fantasy relevant. Zay Flowers, 5 catches for 58 yards. Devontae Walker, 1 for 30. Derrick Henry, 2 catches for 24. And DeAndre Hopkins, not dead yet, 2 catches for 13 yards. He also saw an end zone target in the game. Lou, I'm going to quote Monty Python literally anytime I can. And this is one of those not dead yet ones. Yeah, okay.
That's why we get along.
So, right. Yeah, not a lot to take from this game on either side, honestly. Like, Derrick Henry's getting older. The cliff is coming. We're seeing it slowly inch in. I don't think he's as reliable of a back anymore. And by next season, he's someone I'm not interested in drafting. It is what it is now. We drafted him where we drafted him, but your expectations for Henry have to be tempered. And I think the same should be said for Zay Flowers. And Mark Andrews is dead.
I mean, we kind of had a mini Mark Andrews resurgence there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question here. Do you think Lamar Jackson is fully recovered from his injury that he had earlier in the year?
Absolutely not. He won't be until the season.
He doesn't look like it, right? Like he went from this guy that like you couldn't tackle if you were in a phone booth with him. For those of you who are young enough, a phone booth is a small glass container that can barely fit one person, let alone 2. So, but the point being, he doesn't have that right now. I don't ever remember seeing another time in his career where he was going to be sacked and ended up being sacked. We have seen countless number of times he's about to be sacked and he wiggles his way out somehow through voodoo magic of his. And it's just not the case right now. I have to think that whatever, I forget his exact injury. Was it a hamstring? Hamstring. I have to think that that's still limiting him, at least in like that initial short area explosion sort of thing, which he's so good at. Because he doesn't look like himself.
Yeah, when that hammy's sore, you try push it off. Freaking hurts.
I'm 44. I am not doing that.
Oh, come on. Just try it out, Lou. I'm only 43. I'll try it out too. Yeah, something's mine probably will too. Yeah, something's not right with Lamar. And
no.
Yeah. And they don't have Derrick Henry to kind of mask it because he's just not as efficient, which is a bummer.
Right.
So on this game, A.D. Mitchell, we didn't really talk about him on the Jets side. Him getting a reception glitched the braid of Scott Hansen during Red Zone today. I think if you watch Red Zone, you saw it happen. He just like lost it for about 10, 20 seconds. A.D. Mitchell, though, do you think there's something to this in New York where he could become someone who's mildly relevant? He had 2 catches for 42 yards today, but he had 7 targets.
No. Mostly because I think that they end up bringing people in better than him, and that is a very, very deep pool to pull from. And we have no idea what the quarterback situation is going to be in New York. Like the 26 quarterback class is not super exciting. Like there's some names that have emerged, but they're not the high profile physical tools type names. They're the more kind of journeyman athletically, and there's a lot of risk with those types of guys if they can't put it together at the NFL level. So I have some real questions about the quarterback that ends up throwing to these guys, to A.D. Mitchell, in addition to them bringing in other guys that are better than A.D. Mitchell.
Well, I don't think A.D. Mitchell's a Jet next year anyway.
That could very well be as well.
do think might be a Jet next year, though? Trevor Lawrence.
Who? And see, I don't know his contract well enough to be able to say, but man,
they have very minimal hit to move on from Trevor Lawrence. If they're smart, they will. Because, well, I mean, God damn it, they're a playoff team.
Yep. And who are you going to get that's going to do better? That's the forever question.
Jacoby Brissett.
He signed in Arizona through 26.
I know. All right, Lou, we're going to move on to the afternoon games. The first of which was the debut of quarterback Shedeur Sanders with the Cleveland Browns. And I'm going to tell you, I thought this was going to go way freaking worse than it did. At the end of the day, Shedeur wasn't terrible. He went 11-20 for 209 yards. I'm sorry.
There you go.
One touchdown, one interception. He had one carry for -1 yards. He didn't make a ton of mistakes. They beat the Raiders. He's not fantasy relevant.
No.
Did he do enough today to maybe Stefanski's like, yeah, I'll give you another week over Dylan Gabriel?
I mean, I don't think he played any worse than Dylan Gabriel, but that's not even a bar, let alone a high bar. They both look like 5th-round rookie quarterbacks because they essentially are. Like they look like what they are, which is fine. Sanders didn't look good. He threw a pretty ball. He also threw a pretty ball 10 yards past his wide receiver on multiple occasions.
Yep.
They rolled him out a lot, which is great. They ran Wildcat with Quinshon Judkins a lot, which just tells you about the amount of faith that they have in Shedeur being able to operate under an under center running game, which is literally none. I think he could be something, but at the same time, he didn't show anything today that made me think that he is going to be something.
Yeah, I'm with you. His dad showed out in a pretty dope cowboy hat, though. Did love Dion's hat.
Yeah. How's Colorado doing? Oh, wait.
I don't know. He bought a house 15 minutes from where I live. So apparently he's staying. For the rest of Cleveland here, Quinshon Judkins, 16 carries for 47 yards. He gets 2 touchdowns. Dylan Sampson saw 7 carries today for 23 yards, but he also had 2 catches for 59. He led the team in receiving, Dylan Sampson. Yep, and he had a receiving touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, 1 catch for 39 yards. Harold Fannin, 4 for 40. Isaiah Bond, 2 catches for 58 yards. On the Raiders side, Lou, just as ugly-ish. Geno Smith, 30 of 44 for 285 yards and a touchdown. That was really all the scoring they put together. And Ashton Jaunty shut down again, albeit this makes sense against a better run defense. 17 carries for 50 yards. Tyler Lockett leads the team in receiving yards with 62. Ashton Jaunty leads the team in catches with 8 for 58 yards. Brock Bowers goes 6 for 55 without a touchdown. Jaunty gets the receiving touchdown. Again, these are 2 teams. You look at them from a fantasy perspective, you just can't trust any of it.
Yeah, and it's really sad for Bowers because he didn't do anything until extreme late game garbage time, which it still counts for fantasy. It all counts the same. But at the same time, this was not the thesis with Brock Bowers. He was the centerpiece of the offense. He was going to run through him, and it's just not. And I have to think that this, in addition to Jaunty, this is a big part of the reason why Chip Kelly was fired, right? Like we are, now through week 12, and this is still an issue. Can't have this.
No, you can't have an inefficient offense with this talent that you have, and assuming I don't think Geno Smith is as washed as we think he is necessarily. I think it's a bad system. I always thought that Chip Kelly was kind of overrated, man. I never saw it completely with him.
I think he had a cute gimmick, and that once that gimmick was figured out, he didn't have a curveball, and that happens sometimes.
It's Cliff Kingsbury for you.
But they didn't play this week, so we don't have to worry about that.
No, we don't. What we do have to worry about, though, is the Jaguars-Cardinals game, Lou. We're going to move on to that one. Jaguars win this one 27-24. Much to my dismay, they're 7-4 and in the lead of the division. 2 games behind Indy, but still, they're a playoff contender. I don't understand it. All we're doing is lengthening the leash for Trevor Lawrence, which irritates me to no end because he's going to ruin some of these guys like Brian Thomas Jr. But I digress here. Trevor Lawrence today goes 18-30 for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's a quarterback you could buy at a goddamn gas station, Lou. Travis Etienne, 15 carries for 86 yards.
Winston
does not score. Jameis Winston is the premium behind the counter quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is the out in the general lobby. You can get him next to the freaking Doritos quarterback. There is a difference here, sir. Because, like, Jameis Winston is one where he has the push button where he's like, hee when you press it. Trevor Lawrence just looks dumb. That's all.
Trevor Lawrence just looks dumb.
Well,
that's fantastic. I mean, the problem is I can't argue with any of it. You're absolutely 100% right on every level. I was just speaking to the stat line only, but take it beyond the stats. Yes, you are 100% correct, and I can't argue with it at all. No, I'm going
deep in life, in general here.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, and again, like, this isn't a terrible performance. 18-30, 256, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. It's very Jameis Winston-ish stat line, but it's not as fun because it's not Jameis. Like, he's not making the fun hand gestures. He just looks like...
He doesn't look like he's happy to be there. Jameis looks like he's thrilled to be wherever he is in that moment, and it's awesome.
To steal a line from the great world of Dogma, SpongeBob, or not SpongeBob, I'm sorry, Silent Bob and Jay. Look at this morose mother effer. Looks like somebody shitting his cereal. Seriously, it's what it looks like to me. It's Trevor Lawrence all the time. And this offense reflects it.
Trevor Lawrence is what we were owed once the Mannings retired, so that way we could have continued Manning face. And that's Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, but he's not as good.
No, not even kind of.
No, with the rest of this Jacksonville team, we've got Travis Etienne going 15 carries for 86 yards. Trevor Lawrence had 5 carries for 21. Bashal Tutin didn't get enough work, Lou. 7 carries for 17 yards. Very disappointing. Brenton Strange comes back. 5 catches for 93 yards. Parker Washington, 5 for 71. And Jacoby Myers gets involved. 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. But again, with this Jacksonville offense, as we're approaching the fantasy playoffs, I have little to no trust in any of these assets. Maybe save Parker Washington.
Yeah, I was going to say, Parker Washington is going to live in that like low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3 range for me. Somewhere in that 20 to 26-ish, depending in matchups, that sort of thing. That's where he's going to live for me. It's just, why am I putting guys like Zay Flowers over him? Parker Washington, he's seeing 7+ targets every week. Except for when they beat the Chargers 35-6. Like, yes, let me roll that out in my lineup. I will take that every time. I'm also interested in Strange, like seeing him come off IR and put up 5 for 93. For 93, that's a good chunk of yardage on 5 catches for a tight end. So sign me up for that.
It's
especially
14 PPR points.
Who else? What other tight ends in fantasy are you excited about starting the rest of the season outside of Trey McBride? Who are you excited about starting? Tyler Warren? Probably.
Really? Ish.
Like you know that he's got a decently high floor, but you're not like excited about. Why not Brenton Strange?
Why not? Well,
right. That's kind of where I am with him.
Think about as mid as Trevor Lawrence is, the most mid quarterback who ever lived, even more mid than Trent Dilfer. No, I can't. That's not fair.
Oh, that's a bridge too far, sir.
I went a bridge too far here. Though I did ask on Blue Sky, would you rather have Trevor Lawrence or Trent Dilfer? And Marcus Grant from NFL Network replied no. And he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
There's a reason he's on NFL Network right there.
Right. I do like Brenton Strange. I think he's one of the guys who can survive Trevor Lawrence being mid. Brian Thomas Jr. cannot. We've already seen it.
It's just he's got the wrong kind of game for it, which is sad.
Yeah, the kind of game where he's a good receiver who expects, I don't know, reasonable targets they can catch. But I digress. We're going to move on to the Eagles-Cowboys game, Lou, because this one was fun. It was entertaining.
Depending on which side you were on.
Well, my side of it, where anybody who plays the Eagles should win, it was great for me. Very back and forth game. Cowboys end up the victors in overtime, 24-21. I'm sorry, not in overtime, in regulation. We're going to start on the Philly side of this one. Jalen Hurts had a pretty decent game, Lou. 27-39 for 289 yards and a touchdown. He added 7 carries for 33 yards and 2 touchdowns, of course, tush pushing, as they do.
Oh, I think I lost Nate there. Oh, no, Nate, come back. Yeah, Jalen Hurts, I mean, I kind of expected him to do more, considering it was hey, you're back. Yay.
Yay. Yeah, this was...
Just didn't want to hang out with me anymore?
No, I do. I always do, man. Saquon Barkley, let's talk about this. 10 carries for 22 yards.
Man.
It's not fun.
It's not. I don't want to say something's been wrong with Saquon all year, because I don't know that it's wrong with him. Something's been wrong with the Eagles all year, and this is a symptom of that something being wrong. Yes, you in the back.
It's Nick Sirianni.
Hey, we have a winner. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's not punchable because he looks funny. He's punchable because he looks funny and he makes dumb decisions. It's just... That's the reason we don't like him. Just to be really clear, it's not that we are jealous. It's not because he wins. He wins in spite of his ridiculous decisions. And I'm glad he didn't today, because he made ridiculous decisions. First of all, you only score 21 points against this defense. Second of all, that was Jalen Hurts' day again against this defense. And then third, you only run the ball 10 times with Saquon Barkley. Yeah, you deserve to lose. You should lose on principle alone, because that is not winning football.
No.
With this Philadelphia Eagles team.
Well, okay. They got A.J. Brown the ball. 10 targets, 8 catches, 110 yards. Cool. But you can do both of these things at the same time, Nick. Right. You don't have to pick one of the, okay, which one is it? Are we gonna give Saquon the ball, or are we gonna give AJ the ball today? I don't know which one to pick. Pick both.
Right. You can give Saquon Barkley 20 to 25 touches and get A.J. Brown 10 targets literally every week. Literally every week. You know who doesn't need targets every week? Dallas Goedert. Jahan Dotson. These guys do not need targets every week.
Greg Calcaterra, Xavier Gibson, Darius Cooper. Why are we... I'm with you. It's frustrating.
These guys do not need targets.
No, they don't need targets. This offense should be far more condensed than it is. It should be A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, and let's toss in some Goddard here and there. Dallas Goedert had his place. But
like they're clamping down on the wide receivers on the outside. We have Dallas Goedert in the middle. But that's the if. That's it.
Yep. But I digress, Lou. Let's move on. Yeah. This game was frustrating as hell. Okay. I liked watching it because I liked watching Dallas win.
Yeah,
but that was about it.
Can they stop with Kevontae Turpin though? Like kind of the same sort of idea. Like you've got George Pickens, you've got CeeDee Lamb, Ferguson, Javonte Williams. Why is Kevontae Turpin touching the ball at all within the offensive structure?
I mean, to be fair, he only had 2 targets, but they were high-value targets. They were
high-value targets, and what did he do with them? That's enough Kevontae Turpin.
But also, CeeDee Lamb, 11 targets, he only had 4 catches.
Yes. Yeah, I mean...
He had 2
CeeDee Lamb
pretty egregious drops.
Yeah, well, I mean, he can hold his liquor, but not the ball. So, there's that.
Well, at least he's good at holding one thing. George Pickens, though, 9 catches for 146 yards and a touchdown. He caught all 9 of his targets. That wasn't a problem for him. Jake Ferguson caught 5 of his 6 targets for 60 yards. And then, I love this one, Brevin Spanford. I love random tight ends getting work here. He has 1 target, 1 catch, 4 yards, and a touchdown.
I believe they call that a headshot.
Right?
Just 1 shot, 1 kill right there. Just bam.
Right? Perfect. Beautiful. 1 and done. And that was the Dallas offense today. I mean, quite honestly, not a lot offensively to take from this game. It was ugly. It wasn't super fun to watch unless you were a George Pickens manager. Javonte Williams, 20 carries for 87 yards, but he doesn't score.
And I have to wonder if teams are going to start focusing on taking away the wide receivers, both wide receivers, and if that allows Javonte to run more. Because if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm looking at Lamb and I'm looking at Pickens going, I cannot let these guys beat me. Cannot, because they will beat me by themselves. We've seen it with George Pickens numerous times throughout the year. If someone's going to beat me, I want it to be Javonte Williams, because I'm not going to die in 1 cut. It's maybe a death by 1,000 cuts, but I can trust my guys to do that.
Sure, it's better than getting beat down the field by CeeDee Lamb.
Right. Or George Pickens doing George Pickens things all over your face.
Well, because, I mean, if you're getting beat by Javonte Williams, that's manageable. Like, you still give yourself a chance. When you're getting beat in the air, in any situation, it just becomes very hard. And being a Javonte manager is frustrating.
Yeah, and this is one of the worst matchups that he has. Yeah, he's going to have better matchups in this, which is going to improve. And the Dallas offense got weird down in the red zone in this game. They started doing some things that just really didn't make sense when you consider the weapons that they have and how they'd been running up until that point, which is just, teams lose their minds sometimes. It happens. I have faith that they'll figure it out, because Javonte Williams has still been one of the better running backs this year and really has not hit that wall that I thought he could and come back down to what I see as his floor, that sort of thing. He really hasn't done that.
Not yet. There's still time. It's only week 12. And this is the Dallas Cowboys. And Jerry Jones is still the GM and owner.
That's true.
But
he can't make any
Jerry
more
Jones
trades
leaves.
This year.
Well, yeah. But he can make plenty in the offseason to screw him even harder.
Oh, that's
true. We got Sublime 630 saying, I'm a frustrated Williams owner and watching him not get the ball at the 1 yard line. These are the moments where people like you, Lou, you and I have been watching football for probably nearly 35 years in an analytical fashion.
Yeah.
You watch these things, and you're like, is it the one? Just give it to the big guy who's going to tuck it in and plow his way through. He might not score on the first one, but you got 3 downs.
3 times.
Just give it to him 3 times.
Give it to him 4 times.
Sure. Yeah. That's all you have to do. Not that hard.
Yep.
All right, Lee, we're going to move on to the final game of this Sunday slate, because we ain't talking about the Sunday night game. I haven't watched the second half. We'll talk about that one tomorrow as part of the Waiver Wire show. But the Falcons beating the New Orleans Saints 24-10 on the back of Kirk Cousins going 16 of 23 for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. I wouldn't say that Atlanta won this game. I would say that the Saints didn't win this game. Not even lost it, really. These are 2 very mid teams.
Yeah, having a mid-off.
And it's going to get even more mid for New Orleans. Alvin Kamara has an MCL sprain. Got an MRI scheduled for tomorrow. He's going to miss some time possibly here.
I'm looking at probably 2 weeks.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And as it stands, Tyler Shuck ended up being the New Orleans Saints leading rusher. He went 30 of 43 in the air, 243 yards, 1 interception, 7 carries for 22 yards, did not score there. This is what New Orleans is the rest of the season. I think they're a team that can score 10 to 14 points. I think Tyler Shuck's a guy that can provide maybe back-end quarterback 2 value. He's better than Cam Ward still, in my opinion.
Are you sure?
Most weeks. Pretty sure. Most weeks. There's no consistency to Cam Ward. Tyler Shuck's got. How about neither one?
Yeah, I think that's the right answer at this point.
It's more of a neither one. Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, I think I have seen more from Cam Ward his last 2 games to make me think he could be more. I have not seen enough from Tyler Shuck to make me think he is anything yet.
We've seen Tyler Shuck's ceiling already.
It's,
if we're being honest.
That's fair.
Which isn't good for Chris Olave. Led the team in targets, 13 targets. He had 9 catches for 70 yards. The only touchdown was on defense, which I was pretty happy to see. I started them in DFS today, so I'll take
nice.
that one.
So there is one guy I want to talk about here, though, in the wake of Kamara's injury, is Devin Neal.
Yes.
Didn't do anything in the rushing game, 7 for 18, but got 7 targets and converted 5 of them into receptions. That's a pretty reasonable, PPR scam Alvin Kamara stat line right there. Let's get him into a full-time role. I believe he was a Senior Bowl guy for you, right, Nate?
He was one of the few I actually got to interview, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Devin Neal out of Kansas. He's very talented. He's got quicker feet. He's a pretty good route runner. I'm not going to say he's a great route runner. He's not a great runner, but he was at Kansas, so he didn't get as much press as some of these other guys did. I think he could have maybe bumped a round or 2 if he'd been at a bigger school. But this is a good opportunity for a guy like him. He's kind of a plodding runner, but a really good pass catcher. And that's what this team needs. Because with Kamara out, you need that guy for those short routes. Juwan Johnson, as much as we love him as a tight end, he's still kind of a mid-tier route guy.
Yeah.
Devin Neal can step into some of what Alvin Kamara has done. How successful he'll be, I'm not sure.
See, the adjective that I would use for him is he's a slippery running back, in that he's not powerful. He's not going to bowl you over. He's not super fast. He's not going to run away from you. But you're never going to get good, clean hits on him. So the first guy usually he's getting a couple yards after that first hit, sort of thing. And in an offense like this where you're not going to be getting explosives down the field, you're going to be getting 10, 12, 14 play drives to matriculate the ball down the field. Yeah, shout out to NFL Films there. There's some value there. He can get you a bit of volume, which these are the guys this time of year you gotta troll those depths for, and find 100%. A way to start him. Because, if he finds his way into the end zone, you're probably looking at a low end RB1 week.
Well, we're already without Kendre Miller, so he's seen more field time than he would have without Kendre Miller. With Kendre Miller there, if Kamara misses time, Devin Neal. Who else do they have to run the ball? Mason Tipton.
I think you're next up.
I'll give it a shot. Put me in, coach.
I'm not. I know what my knees can do, and it is not that.
Yeah. No, I'm a fatter, shorter Taysom Hill with much worse knees and a really bad back. I'm good for 2 carries a game.
It's sold. Let's sign him up.
Give me those 2 carries a game. Let's move on to the Atlanta side of this one, Lou. We already talked about Kirk Cousins a little bit. 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Bijan Robinson not seeing the volume with Kirk Cousins that we'd hope. 14 carries for 70 yards. Algier sees 12 carries for 44. Neither one of them scores on the ground. David Sills, though. David Sills the 5th. Woohoo! 3 targets, 2 catches for 16 yards and a touchdown. First of his NFL career. He's in year 6 of his NFL career. But hey, he got his first touchdown, so congratulations to David Sills. This Falcons team isn't very good. They beat a much worse Saints team. I have no interest. Bijan Robinson, you're going to start.
Because you have to, but at the same time, this is what you're looking. This is what you're looking at. His floor is no longer that 12 to 15 points. Yep. This is his floor now, that kind of 6 to 8 range. And it sucks, but all the air has been taken out of that Atlanta offense, especially without Drake London. Maybe if Drake London comes back, something can happen because teams can't just crowd the box and ignore the wide receivers because we don't care about Daryl Mooney and David Sills the fifth. But this is the problem with all these injuries for Atlanta is it takes the air out of everything.
They shouldn't have cut Ray McCloud. How much better would this offense be with Ray McCloud? I'm kidding.
I mean, okay, thank you. I was going to say that that's a statement.
I know. I was kidding though. Like for real. No Ray McCloud, please. Yeah, there's not a lot to like about Atlanta rest of season. Without Michael Penix, you're going to get a very vanilla experience with Kirk Cousins, this is Peyton Manning in 2015.
Yeah.
This is Brock Osweiler got them to the playoffs, got them through most of the playoffs. Peyton Manning took over in the Super Bowl, and this is what he looked like. And without a good defense, Denver doesn't win that Super Bowl. So It's not good. It's not good. They still owe Kirk Cousins a lot of money too. They're going to get a better draft pick. They can draft a better quarterback. I really don't know. Not
because
this year.
The Rams have their draft pick.
Oh my God, they do. You're right.
Because they traded for James Pierce.
Yep.
So yeah, the Rams are going to end up with a top 5-ish draft pick to add to this team.
Yeah. Well, Keith and all you Falcons fans, I'm sincerely sorry for your loss for the next couple of years. It's not going to be fun. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, that kind of does it for us. We've run through the whole slate. It's been a blast, man. Thanks for joining us tonight on The Express, folks. If you're listening to the audio version, we thank you very much. And if you have questions, head over to our Discord channel. Link is in the show description. We're there 24/7, 365 to answer your football questions. Also, make sure you check out tools.optimusfantasy.com. Use the promo code ThanksOptimus for a free 2-week trial. We've got DFS tools, betting tools, league management tools, and a whole lot of stats, folks, to help you make your Christmas a little bit more merry. Earn some more spending cash for those kids. Get them some cool stocking stuffers. That's all we ask. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Lou Brunson, I'm Nate Polvogt. We'll see you next week on The Express, folks. Good night.